Dion, you're going to get hit in a minute, you know that. Say, Scruggs, you want to behave back there? Susan, you want to behave? No. I'm just teasing. Somebody needs to talk to you. She'd just jump up and do that. She would, yeah. Now, where's she going now?
Once Matt's in.
That's because she had your password updated.
Make sure you're on microphone. Every bit of that. You got one at home.
Here we go.
I'm at a school board meeting.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Our first item is our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Vice Chair, could you read our mission statement?
The mission of the Marshall Public School District is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any additions? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Public forum, now is the time. Anybody in the public that would like to approach the board, now is your time. Mrs. Strauss, were you approaching us today?
That's for the presentation.
Thank you. Moving on to our presentations, summer school program review. Ms. Chandler and Mrs. Strauss, welcome. Please talk in the microphone, that way we'll record it and put it on TV.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Gail Chandler. I am a part-time social worker and a part-time special education teacher at Westside.
And I'm Sue Strauss, a kindergarten teacher at Parkside.
This summer, we were also lucky enough to be the co-coordinators for the summer school program Jumpstart. And so we wanted to tell you a little bit about that program today. 132 students attended the first session of Jumpstart last summer, and 116 students attended the second session. Some of those do overlap, so we didn't want to give you one big number, but the first session was in June and the second session was in July.
Okay, not every child is able to attend summer school. They have to, or we use the following criteria: teacher referral, and the teachers use their NWEA scores, their Ames Web scores, and passing of the standards for math and reading. So if they don't pass those, they probably will be asked or offered the opportunity to go to summer school. Jumpstart was held June 12th through June 29th and July 17th through August 3rd. Students arrived at 8 a.m. for a free breakfast. Classes started around 8:30. 11:30 was a free lunch to 12, and then they left. And school was Monday through Thursday. We served students going into 1st through 8th grade. Students worked on reading, math, and social skills. Summer school was taught by licensed staff, and busing was provided to students living in Marshall. So if students lived outside of the Marshall area, they had to provide their own transportation. An integral part of our program was our parent-student liaisons. We could not have done it without them. Our students that were recommended for summer school, they would follow up on that for us. They would contact the families, make sure the forms were signed. And we don't have a percentage, but I would say 90% of our students were probably, we used our student liaisons, parent-student liaisons. And they also came and built a relationship with those students at breakfast if they didn't already have one with them, and they helped me tremendously with attendance. And just to give you a little background, Gail does most of the pre-summer school work. She gets the things to the bus company and gets all the forms in, and I am there most of the time, well, almost all the time during summer school. That's kind of my deal. And we also couldn't have done it without our teaching staff. There, unfortunately, aren't very many teachers that really want to teach in the summer. So we are very, very thankful for those that do. Yeah, it's hard to get teachers to teach in the summer, unfortunately.
We have to have licensed staff.
Yes, we do. Yep. The first year we did this was last year, and the first day we probably had about 30 or so students sign up or show up the first day that were not signed up. That was tough. I mean, we didn't have staff for them. We didn't have forms filled out. We didn't know if their parents even knew where they were at. And we didn't have a place for them. So this year we really made sure that, first of all, those that really needed it were there, and that we had a backup plan if we had a lot of children, attend that weren't on our roster, so we could accommodate these kids. It was an awful feeling to say you have to go home. We don't have a place for you. But we got that nipped in the bud this year, we think.
What do the numbers compare this year compared to last year?
About the same.
Same.
Do most of them that get referred come, or do you?
What do you think, 80% maybe?
I would say so. That's where the parent-student liaisons really helped, because they could go and follow up with the parents, make sure that they were understanding the forms, make sure that if they really needed it, that they drove home why they needed it or why their child was referred for it. It was very helpful.
And those, like Tina and Jose, they would go and get the kids. If they weren't there, they'd go looking for them, put them in their car and bring them.
Tina would do that.
Yeah, I mean, they did. It was awesome. Do you have any other questions for us? I mean, it's a great program. We thank you for letting us do this and helping those kids out. And those children want to be there. I mean, those middle school kids, they just want to be there. I don't know if, well, I'm not going to say.
I've heard that too, from the kids that they really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, they do. It's a more relaxed atmosphere, and they're with their friends. They get to eat.
And they get to learn.
And they get to learn.
There's a large number of students that really thrive on structure, and that way, it's an extension of our structured school day, so it really helps them out too.
Good for the parents, too.
Absolutely.
So you're looking at trying to expand this or for next year, or you have things
The
that
only
can be
way
improved?
the only way we can expand it is if we can get more teachers. Hopefully, with the little salary boost that they got this year, that might help. We'll see.
Very good.
So Any other questions?
Thanks for your leadership.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Yes. Thanks for making
Our
a
pleasure.
difference.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Moving on to our consent agenda, I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Financials, Mr. Lamprecht.
Our bills for the period of August-September by fund category are as follows. General fund, $842,137.87. The food service fund, $155,842.03. Transportation fund, $34,353.90. Community services fund, $27,787.07. Our capital outlay fund, $226,466.14. The construction fund, $356,867.66. And then our student entrepreneurial fund, $734. That makes a grand total of $1,644,188.67. And I would recommend approval of our bills again for the period August-September, Mr. Chair.
Thank
One
you, Al.
question?
Yes.
What is the Student Entrepreneurial Fund, Bruce?
Basically, the Tigers Den EPA operates that, yeah.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Anything else on financials?
Not at this meeting, Mr. Chair.
Board forum, board members, anything you'd like to bring up?
Scott and I attended the MSBA meeting in Worthington last week. I was a little disappointed myself, or Scott was too, I think, because they spent most of the time talking about what they just got done at the legislature and not talking about what we're going to be looking at next year. So we thought it might be the other way around. But they did explain a lot of stuff about what's coming down the pike. They're going to focus next year. One of their main focuses is going to be narrowing the special education cross subsidy, trying to help all the schools out with that. That's going to be one of their main focuses.
Very good. Anybody else?
We had a crisis meeting last week, and it was the first meeting of the year, but just a couple of things. They've implemented the flip chart. It's a condensed version of the binder, and it sounds like it was very well received. Tricia had a large hand in getting those produced and out. And also, they mentioned that every location's done at least one fire drill. Just mentioned that. I was kind of hoping Principal Williams would have still been here. They had theirs last week, and they were saying it was actually cooler outside than inside. So,
I've seen the flip chart, and that is really efficient.
that was a great idea
Have
by
to
the
have
committee.
right there. A lot better than the cumbersome three-hole binder we used to. Nice job, Tricia.
Nice job, Tricia. That's it.
Anybody else? Moving on to our administrative report, our superintendent is homesick. If, Mr. Lampert, you want to highlight some of the notes?
I'll highlight some of the things, and Mr. Chair, if you want to add on at any time, you certainly are welcome to that. The superintendent's report, Scott talked about the ACT test scores, that Minnesota ranks best in the nation in regards to the ACT results. He talked a little bit about the VPK, Voluntary Pre-K and School Readiness Plus programs. And then he also mentioned that enrollment as of September 12th was up 76 students as compared to the end of the year this past year of 16-17. In the early childhood area, Tiffany Teske talked about the vehicle fair, which was on September 7th. That was quite a success. I think the kids really, and maybe the parents and staff enjoy that. And Tricia's pulling up some pictures in regards to that. And then talked a little bit more about the voluntary pre-K and the progress that's being made in regards to that program.
That's going to be, those rooms be ready by the end of the month, I think, right?
We'll have them ready, probably not in final form, but they'll be workable so that we can access the compensatory funding and having the program up and running. So, then at Parkside, Darcy Love talked about the assessment days being a success. The vision screenings, which were done by the Marshall Area Lions, really were well received. Didn't take very long, and they ended up referring, at least at Parkside, 80 students that need to be referred in regards to the vision screening. So that was a success. At Westside, again, Mr. Williams talked about the assessment days and the first days of school. He also mentioned that the math core position, which he was having a difficulty filling, has been filled, and he does have candidates for the reading core position. So that's good news. And then they're going to have the 40-book reading challenge again this year. And that, if you recall, last year, I think the kids and the staff and parents really enjoyed that, and they were very successful with that program. So that's going to be happening again this year of 17-18. At the middle school, Mary Kay Thomas talked about the ambassador program being a big help. 57 new to district students that were impacted by the ambassador program. The after-school program is going to be starting October 3rd, and they're doing student goal setting for all the students, and periodically throughout the school year they're reviewed and seeing where the students are at with the goals that are set here at the beginning of the school year. At the high school, the Link Crew Leaders Program continues really to be a great help for ninth graders in their transition coming to the high school. And then also there's a ninth grade guided study program that's up and running, and again that correlates with the Link Crew. They've established a Digi Squad help desk. I think if I need some help, maybe that's where I should go. Otherwise, Tricia does help me out quite a bit. The advanced placement update was given, the results for 16-17. And then Mr. Jones, in his thoroughness, as he always is with the ACT results, he has probably more charts and graphs than what I do in my budget presentation. So compliments to him, and good results again with the ACT. At Maytech registration day, there were almost 94% of the students that had registered did in fact show up for their individual appointments. That's really a good trend. They had Prairie Pets demonstration, toads and salamanders. I didn't know those were prairie pets, but that was a program that they had here this past week. And then they went over to the 9/11 memorial service, which again was on Monday a week ago. So I think that's again an appropriate thing to have take place and be involved in. In the activities department, 100 people participated in the Tiger 5000, which was on August 19th. The Tiger Athletic Hall of Fame winners were announced. They are Dave Amon, Mary Bicey Byrne, Jason Garrow, and Marty Larson. And that banquet is going to be Saturday, October 14th at the Ramada Inn. And then coming up on this Saturday is Pursuit of Excellence. So As always, a lot of things happening in the activities department. Director of Teaching and Learning, Amanda, shared the survey results for the new teacher workshop and for the workshop week activities, the surveys that were took place, and overall the staff was very satisfied. New staff with the new teacher workshop, and then workshop week, again, very good results, as Tricia is sharing there, as far as a comparison from 15 through 17. Our EL coordinator, Jim Gagner, talked about the student placement in EL, explained how that whole process works. And then there's going to be a new home language survey that's going to be taking place. And then he gave just a brief update on the parent-student connectors and the work that they do. And you heard from the summer school how valuable they are, in fact. In the special ed department, Jackie Wooden talked about all the paraprofessional training opportunities that were available during workshop week, a variety of different things, and that's just been growing over the past number of years, and Jackie's done a very good job of following through in regards to our para training. And for my report, just briefly talk about the 16-17 audit process. Is moving forward real well. The auditors were in the district office last week for Monday through Thursday and got most of their field work done. And we'll be hearing from, or I'll be hearing from them as far as some of the preliminary results probably in a week or so. We did our insurance renewals for our property and liability insurance, also our workers' comp insurance, and again, in both of those cases, we turned out very well as far as our premium rates for the 17-18 year, and that runs from October 1st through September 30th. And last but not least, our student school board members would love to give their report, I believe. So take it away.
Okay, so we had a hard time meeting with the principals of Westside and Parkside, so we emailed them instead. And we only got an email back from Principal Williams from Westside, and he had nothing to report on this week. But at the middle school, we had like to report on an after-school program called STEAM Ed. And STEAM Ed stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, Mathematics. And students just work to improve these areas. And this year they're going to do a project that includes the high school.
Yeah. They're making this city, like, city model, and in entering a contest. So they will like some students from the high school that are in speech. So we can come over here at the middle school and then help the kids. Like the students that are in speech are gonna come at the middle school and then talk about, how to come up and not be afraid, of like public, and then speak. And so that's like what they were asking for our help to bring some students at the high school to the middle school so they can help and teach the middle school students.
And a big change at the high school that a lot of students and teachers have noticed is that has to do with our 1 hour lunch. And our hour lunch is basically we have an hour to eat and to do homework, meet with teachers, and get our grades up if they're low. And we had an AIT system these past couple years where students, if they were failing a class, they were mandated to meet with these teachers or the classes that they were failing in order to increase their grades in that class. So they were required to meet for 30 minutes with that teacher, whether it was first half or second half. And this year they decided to change that.
They felt that, so basically what happens is if you're failing a class and you don't come to that 30 minutes that the teacher that you're supposed to go to, what happens is like you get detention, and if you don't go to the detention after school, you have a Saturday school, and if you don't attend the Saturday school, you get suspension. So teachers felt like, and the principal, they felt like that wasn't working. It wasn't working at all. It was just making this whole, bad relationship thing between teachers and students. So they decided to change that to something that's like, they said that there's no more AIT. So basically what happens now is if the student is failing the class, what's going to happen is he's going to have this one-to-one talk with the principal and the teacher. That class that he's failing, that teacher and the student and the principal are going to talk to make some changes. So they're thinking that that will make a huge difference in terms of like building a positive relationship between the student and the teacher and the principals. So, and we're hoping it's going to work out. Yeah, that's all we got.
I'm glad they're revisiting that program because it's all about helping the students.
Yes.
And they need to realize they're doing this for them. And that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Excellent report.
Thank you.
Moving on to our discussion items, our first readings of policy 401, 406, and 104. Do we have any questions? Okay. Second reading of policy 620. Do we have any questions? Moving on to our action item, approval of the certification of preliminary levy. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's open for discussion.
And as we typically have recommended in previous years, that we certify for this preliminary levy the maximum amount. It provides us flexibility because over the course of the month of September, there are a lot of changes that seem to take place with the levy. We've already received 2 changes from what the original amount was, and so that's just an indication of probably a couple more changes that will take place before we get to the end of September. So the maximum amount, again, provides that flexibility, and then certainly more importantly is the final levy approval, and that's when all adjustments that we might want to make, or if we might want to reduce some of the levy amounts, if that's possible, that'll take place between the approval of the preliminary levy and then the truth in taxation hearing that's coming up in December, right, Tricia? Whatever that date is. So just a point of information, our original levy amount percent decrease was 0.36% decrease. But then when I attended the presentation on the tax levy documentation, by the way, it's now almost 40 pages. It's 39 pages. It grew by 2 more pages. I think that's making progress. Anyway, they meaning the Minnesota Department of Education, had made an error on a 1-line item for all the districts in the state of Minnesota, and it wasn't a helpful one. And so they've since made that adjustment, and now we're sitting at a 1.94% increase. Again, very preliminary, but we'll see how it eventually turns out.
Very good.
Any questions?
Hearing none, we'll call a vote. It is approved. Anything else, board members? Thank you. Meeting's over.